But I started to notice something that bothered me more than any of the PR work that I was doing, which was that nobody knew how to talk about themselves. And that was particularly obvious to me for women, but it did span everyone. And that is usually dependent on, yes, gender factors, how stories about visibility and voice, being seen and not heard, are told to you. But it also has to do with, where do you come from? What kind of family do you come from? What kind of community do you come from? I have Canadian clients, I have international clients, I take on individual clients who cultural factors. I just did a huge event on bragging better in Asian culture, particularly for Asian women. What does it mean to have a voice, and how do you cultivate that? And how do you fight the barriers or the stereotypes or the shame and difficulty that comes with that? So nobody knew how to talk about themselves. And I was watching the entire trajectory, and it was very, very frustrating, which means that that was not changing with someone being very successful. You know, we would be at cocktail parties or networking sessions, or we'd be speaking at conferences, and they would very intensely downplay their work. And I'd have to hop in and play publicist, which I enjoyed. It's always fun to hype your friends, is what everyone says. I can hype my friends, my colleagues, till the clients, till the cows come home. But when I talk about myself, I want to curl up in a ball and die. And I was like, you got to be able to do this on your own. I'm not going to be in every room with you. And then very, very high-powered people, household names, huge leaders, had terrible trouble talking about what they'd done. Bragging is strategic communications about you and your work. It's about being your own best publicist. It's also about your company giving you an opportunity to learn these things. You should not know how to do them. That is a huge misnomer. People come to me, oh, I'm terrible at this. I'm like, yeah, that's why I have a job. That's why many communications people, I'm in this highly specific part of it, have a job. And what I care about is that we recognize this really intense inverse relationship between volume and merit. That's why I call my audience the qualified quiet. People that have done the work but don't know how to talk about it, which didn't make it into the book, but conversely, the lackluster loud. We all know someone in our work pod, in our organization, in our networks at large, who's done so much less than we have and gets all the credit. And as much as I'd like to be optimistic and say, you know, we can get the loud people to be quiet, that's just not the case. It's about figuring out how to brag better, strategically and cohesively share those facts to advance your career in order to make noise and also be a better employee. Part of your job is reporting the work you do. Part of your job as a manager is understanding the wins of the people that work under you. But this is a really tough, scary, complex, anxiety-producing activity, which is why I literally wrote the book on it. And it's something I'm deeply passionate about and spend a lot of time with APB speaking to audiences about.